Hi, I'm Taryn and welcome to Hawkesbury Regional Gallery. We're going to be doing an art activity today and we're going to be making a toucan. So, we have instruction sheets that you can download after this, so if you can follow my instructions online or you can print it off and do it step by step in your own time. So this is what we're making, and all we're going to need today is a paper plate. Pretty sure most people tend to have paper plates around at home. Paper plate does work a lot better than plastic, so if you've got plate paper, it's much better. So I'm going to take you step by step how to draw your toucan. So step one is you're going to take a paper plate and we're just going to draw. I'll draw a line and then I'll show you exactly what I've drawn. Now mine's going to be a little bit dark just so you can see it really clearly, but when you do it, don't worry too much. It's because we're going to draw some lines over it afterwards, but for the moment, yeah, try not to go too heavy. So I'll start by drawing one single line all the way around the edge of our plate, like that. Pretty simple. Then the next step is we're just going to draw a little line just down the middle at the top, like so. Next step is we're going to draw the beak of our toucan, like that. See how it has a little curve in it? So not too straight. And then let's draw a small line over that as well. There we go, pretty simple. So the next step is we're going to start the body. We're going to draw a nice big curved line this time, like so. And then inside the curve, we're going to add another curve. This time, it's going to go all the way up to the head of our toucan. Pretty simple so far. So now a few more details. I think our toucan needs an eye, so we better add one of those. So while you're drawing the eye, you can draw both circles. So see how one, I've made a little bit more of an oval shape with a smaller one inside. Okay, and now if you have a look at my toucan here, can you see all the bright colours in its beak? So now we're going to add in some of those details. Fairly simple. So the first one is going to draw a curve here in our bottom beak. And then we're going to add another one just like that, but further along, like so. And then we're going to add one into the top part of our beak. This one's a long, skinny one, and it goes almost right down. You see, right down to where the last one nearly finishes. So down here, so up and all the way around. Excellent. And then we've got the tip of the beak to do. So just a little bit more, just a tiny little line onto there. Then we're nearly finished. So next step, we're going to add some feet. So I'm going to turn mine upside down so I can see what I'm doing. Now the feet actually go over the curved part of your plate, like that. So you can see that's going to give us our little feet that curve over. Now if you have a look at my toucan, you'll notice that I've cut a section out. So this bit actually fits inside here. So that's the part we're going to cut out later, but we are going to draw on it while it's still on the plate. So what we're going to add is just two little bumps just in there. Okay, and that's all the drawing we're going to do for now. Next step is to start our painting. So the colours we're going to need, I've got some ready, is, you can see, we've got yellow, green, blue, 2 lots of orange, some magenta or cerise, or pink if you've got pink at home, and we've got some blue for our beak and our feet. So I'm going to start with the yellow, because it's always important to start with your light colours first. Yeah. So make sure you've got a glass of water handy and some brushes, maybe more than one brush, because some of these areas, as you see, are a little bit small to get into, so having a smaller brush on hand really helps. And we're going to start. So first step, dip our brush in some water and start painting. So we're going to do the body first. So let's paint all that on. Don't worry if you go outside the lines, that's totally okay. So brushing it on there. I love yellow, it's such a nice bright colour. Now you could use water paint. I'm using acrylic here, but whatever paints you have at home will be fine. There we go. There's our yellow. I'm going to give my brush a little wipe. So next I'm going to do the orange. Looks like a big lemonade there. Alright. So if you don't have orange paint, you can mix red and yellow together. I'm going to mix a little bit here. Mixing, mixing, mixing. Alright, so now this part here is going to be my orange part. So I'll hold it up for you. Okay, some on the beak. So this is the part we're going to do now. In there. If you've got a little brush, that might help for this one. Or if it's a bit hard and you've only got little hands, Mum and Dad might help, or somebody else that might be home. Alright, next colour, we're going to do our green. Give my brush a good wash in between, or you can get a different brush if you've got a spare one. So now with the green, we're going to paint this part and this part, and then we're going to paint some of our eye. Now, you can see here, my eye has a black part in the middle, so it's okay to actually paint the whole eye and come back and put the black later. Alright, so painting on now. A bit there, this bit here. Now you can see in my toucan there, I've done some outlines later on. So don't worry if you do go over the edge a little bit, we can fix them with our text outline later. Painting in there, like that. There we go. Now you can see this is different paint to what I did my first one in, so it'll look a little bit different, but that's okay. There we go. So that's all my green finished now, so I'm going to wash my brush again. And the next section, we're going to paint our blue part on our beak and our blue feet. Right. Got my blue paint. Painting in my feet. Blue is my other favourite colour. Reminds me of blue sky. I'm not too worried about this part here because we're going to paint it black. We're going to be able to go over the top of that if I make a mistake. A bit more paint. So you can see I'm not making it too watery because you want the colour to be nice and bright and strong. It's a bit hard when you're painting over the bumps. Okay, and now I'm going to do the feet, now paint the beak. A little bit tricky trying to get into those little areas there, so if you need to, make sure you can go to a smaller brush. Like so, and then you can wash the brush again. And the next section is our pink colour on our beak. see here, just the very tip. Okay, getting my pink ready. I like this colour. There we go. So that's there. So I'm just going to let this dry for a minute, and then I'll come back with some black paint in it. Okay. Okay, pretty much all dry now. It's a few little spots there, but I think we're going to keep going with our next step. So this time we need some black paint, and we're going to paint in all our black sections. Got my brush there. I've gone and gotten some clean water too while I was waiting, and now we're just going to start painting everything else that's left. So we've got this section here, and a little bit in our eye. So get it nice and thick. Once again, not too worried if I go outside the edge, because we're going to cut all that off. So nice and smooth. You can add a little bit of water to your paint if it's a bit thick. Brushing it on. I'm sure yours will be a little bit neater than mine because I'm trying to paint standing up. That's okay. Round base there. Now, you might like to leave just a little bit of a gap because we're going to cut this section out. It's a bit hard. If you paint over the top, you might forget where your lines were. So sometimes if you leave just a tiny little bit of a gap, just so you don't forget where it was. So do a little bit on one side and a little bit on the other side. You can fill it in with your texture afterwards. Okay, so see a little bit of a gap there? And then keep painting. Right up against our yellow. Bit more paint. Right around the edge there. This bit's a little bit tricky. Might need to get something to give you a little bit of a help if it's a bit hard. Paint. Right up the very tip. Now you can use your brush to paint in the paint for the eye now, or if you wanted, you can leave it and you can get your texture and colour in later. To them, I'm going to use a bit of paint on my eye. A little blob. Like so. Missed a little tiny bit, might fix that up. There we go. And then we're going to leave that to dry again, and then we'll get ready for the next section. Alright, so my black paint is pretty well dry now. So what we're going to do next is we're going to need a few extra items. So depending on what you've got at home, if you've got tape or if you've got stapler, either one will work just as fine. Or if you've got some glue, you could use that too. We're also going to need a pair of scissors, but if you have troubles cutting things out, it's going to be a little bit tricky in some spots, so you can get somebody else to come and help, whether it be an adult or big brother and sister. That's fine. Okay, so what we're going to cut now is everything that's white. Okay, so all around the edge there, we're going to start cutting. It's okay if you have to start by cutting into the edge like that. Just follow your line all the way around. It's okay if you do it in sections, so you can see like cutting a bit off and then get started. And go around a little bit and you can cut some more off. So we're not going to need any of those pieces, so that's totally fine. Cutting around. Now with your feet, you might find it easier to start from the bottom and then cut up into it. Like so, and then do that little bit there. There we go. 1 foot. Now the other side. And cut back up to it. Pull that little bit off. Sometimes you don't quite get with the edge. around this bit. And then around the edge again until all of it's been cut off. That's all that bit. Now if you'll notice at the tip of the head, you can see by this one, I've just cut a little dent into it, just to show where the beak starts. Just a little tiny bit, almost like a little V, like so. Now the next bit is we're going to cut out our tail from our body and beak. And around the yellow belly, and around the body, like so. And then we've got our two pieces left. We can move these to the side for the moment, because we don't need that anymore. And now the next step is, while it's still flat, we're going to take our texture. Any black texture that you happen to have is fine. And this is just for a little bit of detail. So I'm going to draw over the top of all the lines that we had, like so, and an outline around the outside edge, what you've done. This might take you a few minutes, so take your time and go nice and slowly and see how neat you can get it. So I'll do a couple and then I'll show you where we're up to. Just going around the edges there. So that's my beak done. Like so. And a little bit around here. I'm trying to be careful not to draw on my table. And around your eye. Now, if you painted the black on your eye, you don't have to worry about it, but if you didn't do it before, you can get your texture and just colour that one in now. Now we need to draw some claws on our toucan's feet. So it's really simple. I just drew two lines just over the bumpy edge. And then do the other side as well. Oh, I missed a spot. Forgot to draw around my orange. There we go. So the next step is we're going to take the part that we cut out from there, and we're going to either stick it, staple it, or glue it onto our toucan. Now it's up to you where you put your tail. You might want your tail coming down, you might want your tail sticking up in the air. It's completely up to you. I think I might put mine coming out to the side. I'm going to use a little bit of tape. You can use any sort of tape if you've got clear sticky tape or masking tape, whatever you happen to have around. Hold it over and tape it onto the back, like so. There we go. And if you're using a stapler, you might need an extra pair of hands. Sometimes it's a little bit tricky. Might put this one's tail coming down. So it's easy just to staple it on, like so, and that's just enough to hold it into place. So there you go. That's our step-by-step instruction on how to make your own toucan from a paper plate. Feel free to send us in some photos of what ones you've made. Alright, see you next time.